I was saying this morning that it is all about robots here at the show, and it's all about robots at ABB. Stephen, there are just so many amazing robots on your stand. Now, what is going on behind me? Because it does look a little bit like a spider to me.
It does. So we've actually got a lot of robots on our stand today. We've got our flex pickers, which we've been making for the last 20 plus years. So we've got the flex picker today actually picking from our belt using our picking software called Pickmaster. So we can send the coordinates of all of the parts on the belt to the robot via the vision system we have in our cell here. And we've also got our SCAR robot on the end, which is taking what the robot's picked and put them into a nice order for it to bring back around and pick again.
So it almost maps them as they come through with a light.
That's right, yeah. So we use the picking software. So this light box has a camera in there, and it sees every single part, and it's looking for the shape, it's looking for the colour, it's looking for many different things that you would find in a bakery or a confectionery-based environment.
So do you have any restriction then as far as the size is concerned?
In some regards, yes, and it depends on what kind of tool you want to use. We're using a vacuum tool, but you could use a little scoop or a little clamp, something like that. So it really depends on what the product is that the customer's trying to move.
Now, I want to move around here, Stephen. I want you to come with me because what I want to do is have a little look at this because I know nothing about this and it looks really cool.
So this is the integration piece that we have with ABB Robotics and our partners, B&R Automation. So what we actually have here is what we call the ACAPOS track and also our IRB 1200 picking robot. So what you'll see is that each of these individual parts on the track are individually controlled. So any of these parts can move on either belt and any of them can be taken off. They're only held on by magnets, so it's a magnetic track. And you'll see the robot on the other side is actually going to pick the balls off these moving tracks and it'll move the actual carriage itself as well. And these is only work at about 40% of its speed at the moment, so they can move at extremely fast paces. And this is great if you're using bottles or really fast-moving parts in your production facility where you need to get things moved to different parts of the facility quickly. So these tracks are just absolutely mind-blowing.
What's been the reaction from people here at the show? Because it was so busy yesterday, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, and people love to see the moving elements. I think it really draws people into your stand when they can see things moving around and they can see what they could have in their factory that they might not have seen before. It really excites people, and it's here that we can have those conversations that really makes people realise we could do this and we could become so much more efficient, and that's where we need to be as a manufacturing industry.
It is, and there was big chat yesterday about the lack of staff and about how we're having to change as an industry, and robots really are the future. Can you see that happening quicker than what we was predicted?
Well, in the UK, we're actually around number 16 or 17 of global robot using countries. So in the UK, we're about 91 robots per 10,000 employees employed in the manufacturing industry, whereas our closest counterparts, Germany, have nearly 300 robots per 10,000 employees. So the UK's got a really slow adoption rate in comparison to a lot of the G7 countries in the world. So we need to see more robots in industry, which would allow companies to become more efficient. If they become more efficient, they grow, and by growing, they take on more people. So the robots will actually create jobs, and that's what's so important for people to realise.
It is, and it's amazing that you put it like that, because I think it's just a way of changing the thought process behind it, isn't it? And actually thinking about robots as a positive rather than they have been portrayed in a negative way for the system, not now, but they have been in the past because people were scared and they didn't understand how it was going to affect them.
Exactly. And the thing with robotics is that people sometimes may become displaced, but that's because they get retrained. So we're actually upskilling people to program, to look after, to support the robots that are in their facilities, so they're actually getting a better quality of working day by having these pieces of capital equipment that can really boost their production and their working life. So robots are a really, really important part of our manufacturing industry, and we have to keep that pace moving and moving forward so as we can become one of these leading countries. We're such a great manufacturing nation. We've got so much to offer the world, and this is how we move it forward into the next Industry 4, Industry 5 level.
Could not agree more. Now, Stephen, tell me, why do you come to PPMA? What is it about the show?
I love coming here every year and seeing people that we don't get to see on a day-to-day basis because we're all so busy. Everyone's busy every day, and we get to see some of our old colleagues or contacts, but really it's the conversations that we get to have with end users, and it's that face-to-face contact that is so important. People buy from people, and relationships are so important for our industry because you essentially are going out to meet strangers, but by the end of the day they could become your customer or your friend. So you have this opportunity to really impress them with the products that you can offer, and then you get to see them year on year out. It's just a really lovely feeling to get such a nice part of the industry together to have these conversations.
Brilliant. Well, good luck with the rest of the day, and thank you. What a fantastic addition to the industry.
Oh, thanks.